Boyfriend slept in bed with another girl. I, F19, have been dating my BF, 19M, for almost 3 years now. It has only been since this third year that we have had troubles in our relationship, working out boundaries, what's acceptable with other women, etc., which usually ends in arguments, and me being called controlling. Last week, my boyfriend moved to uni, so for that week, I basically tried to give him space to socialize with others and make friends. However, we had a couple arguments leading up to Friday, probably the couple days before, or day before it. On Friday night, I asked him if we could call, to which he didn't respond until 3 a.m. saying, I could tell he was drunk, that he's been busy, that he's sorry, and that he loves me.
No big deal.
However, on Friday, I realized while I was alone waiting for him to text me or call me that he has never, not since like the first year of our relationship, texted me first, and recently I've been cutting off friends for this exact reason. So I decided after that I would attract, not chase YK. So I decided to not text him since Friday to see when he's going to get the message and text me. It's now Tuesday, 2 a.m., and I have heard nothing. However, today I get a friend request from someone F who's at his university, and she replies to one of my stories, and we start just chatting to each other, small talk. I assumed that maybe she just wanted to make conversation with me. I had heard that my BF had mentioned to his flatmates that he has a GF and showed them a picture, so maybe she just wanted to get to know me, whatever. So an hour or half hour goes by, and she asks me all of a sudden if she can talk to me about something important, to which I'm like, yes, OFC, go for it. Me literally saying we're besties now, OFC, you can. She then proceeds to show me a photo of my BF in this other girl's pajamas and tells me that apparently he met this girl at a frat party, not in the same accommodation, and that they got very drunk and went back to her place. He showered at her place and put on her pajamas and slept in the same bed together. And apparently since then, he's been acting weird to everyone and an arsehole towards everyone. This girl who texted me said she got weird vibes from him from the start. However, she wanted to say that they don't know for sure if anything sexual happened. However, I don't think it's even about that. It's the fact he broke my trust in the first place, because literally a couple weeks before today I had set some boundaries about how it is not okay for him to sleep in a bed with another girl, or even go in a bed no cuddling, no nothing with another girl, because that is my boundary and he should respect it, which he told me he saw no problem in it at all, but told me that he wouldn't anyway. Anyway, apparently this girl has a boyfriend too, but the thing is she's a goth and that's his type too. He always tells me I'd look good with a septum. He loves me wearing black. I do witchy stuff too, YK, but this girl was goth, and that threw me off as well, because if that's what he's attracted to, then how can I believe that it was all just innocent? Apparently when the flatmates asked him about it, the girl he slept with said that they slept together, as in just slept, and he responded with, it wasn't like that. The fact he has been ignoring me for 3 days has been giving me major anxiety anyway, but I don't know if the point of trusting him for not having sex is YK the same as crossing a boundary. He crossed a boundary I put in place, yet when I ask about it tomorrow, he could say for sure that nothing sexual happened, but I will never certainly know. Also, why didn't he get an Uber? Why did he fucking shower at her place? Why is he wearing her clothes? Am I overreacting, or should I break up? Because I'm so in love with him, but I don't know if I can ever trust him again. TLDR. My BF met a girl at uni in the first week and slept round her place when drunk in her bed in her pajamas and had a shower round hers too. This is so stupid, but I'm 26F, crying because my bed is all covered in cat food juices as BF, 31M. Left an open-used packet on my bedside table after I asked him to feed my cat who's being quarantined, vet. I spent my whole lunch break doing dishes and hoovering the house, and the cat food incident tipped me over the edge. We have been together for 3 years. It's not like I don't tell him to do things. He refuses to do dishes no matter what I say, unless I'm extremely sick or we get into a borderline argument, as he considers it gross. He's made me wait till I was better to do them, or I've been forced to do it to avoid living in squalor. He wasn't like this when we met for over a year, but he's just become worse and worse. He has to be constantly told and reminded like a child to do chores. He's had some depression linked to low self-esteem and job loss, but honestly, how long can that be an excuse? He's changed so much, I don't even recognize him. I've had some serious heavy stuff to deal with as well, including the death of both my brother/dad and mental health issues, but his problems are always bigger than mine. He refused to go with me to the funerals as he didn't feel comfortable with it. He called me up and complained about his Nerf guns not arriving when I was waiting for the train home for my dad's funeral, which broke me. I'm really disappointed in him, as he's not the person I fell in love with who would travel at a moment's notice to be with me or take me to the hospital. Last time I was sick, he refused to go to the shop to get painkillers and medicated mouthwash when I had a nasty cold and tonsillitis, instead telling me to Uber Eats it. I cried about it and got update, so he eventually went the next day. Everything is about him. How he doesn't like going out or being social or whatever. He's unwilling to put himself in a place to be uncomfortable to do even the smallest of things to make me happy. He says he's trying to be better, but honestly, it's not even meeting the bare minimum standards of a considerate housemate, yet alone a partner. I have no family or friends and am buried in debt. I cannot afford to leave, and part of me wants a relationship to work out, but I don't know how unless some miracle happens. I work in full-time office job, study part-time, and have a long 1.5-hour commute, do 90% of the chores, but somehow he's too busy. WFH. TLDR, BF constantly makes a mess, and I'm exhausted having to clean it up constantly, and he doesn't see the big deal. His room is a mess, and he never puts anything he uses away. I am financially not in a position to move out for at least 1 year, and so burned out. He's been unemployed for 6 months and only started working a fully remote job now, but already using it as an excuse for being too busy to do things. Boyfriend breaks up and asks another girl out before returning to me. As the title says, my 25F boyfriend, 32M, of 9 months broke up with me one evening after a lovely date. We both had a lot of wine that night, so I cannot remember everything. Perhaps I am missing some details that would explain this. What I remember is that he made a joke about my origins. My parents are immigrants in his country, and I did not take it lightly. Then he was talking about how people that work in my field, I work in finance, are destroying the country's economy and cultural values. I asked him some things back, and I basically tried to tell him that although I am also not a fan of capitalism, these jobs in the private sector are in fact supporting those that are benefiting everyone, like teachers, doctors, etc. I admit that my tone was not neutral at this point, as I was still hurt about his initial joke about my origins. Anyways, when we got to my place, although we were both very tipsy, I did not want to let it slip, and I asked him why would he make such a joke, and how could anybody not feel offended by it. He said I was overly sensitive, and I need to stop taking things so personally. I was hurt, so I told him I was going to bed. He was on the balcony and raised his voice telling me to come back. I told him to not make so much noise as he is disturbing my neighbors. He told me again really loud to go back there, to which I said maybe it's better if he goes home. He stormed out, then sent me a vocal saying I was a horribly manipulative person and that he is breaking up with me. He said he cannot believe I could do something like that to him, and he literally stopped in the middle of the recording. He blocked me everywhere, and I thought that was that, but I was still trying to understand what had happened and how my actions/words had led us there. I could not sleep after what had happened and spent most of the night crying. At some point I took a sleeping tab and fell asleep early morning. Around 10 a.m. someone started ringing at the interphone, so I answered thinking it was a delivery, but it was him. I felt so horrible after what had happened plus the drowsiness of the pill, so I did not open and went back to sleep. Eventually during the day, I called him as he had unblocked me, and I asked what did he want. We started speaking again and came back together. He admitted to me that he had raised his voice, and this is why I told him to leave, rather than me trying to manipulate/control him. He then told me that he asked another girl out in the few hours between when he came to my place in the morning and when we started talking again. He said we were broken up and he was so hurt after what I had that, and that it was ultimately my fault because I did not open the door when he passed by the morning after the event. He said he loved me, and that meant absolutely nothing to him. I do not know what to make out of this. I am extremely confused whether this was cheating or not. I also do not understand his behavior. Why was he so mad at me as to block me, and why would he even think about going on a date with someone else if he really loved me? I feel afraid that he could break up with me at any point and be with someone else just to come back to me later on. Please share your opinions if you are familiar with such situations, as I need to make a decision whether to continue or break up. TL, DR. Boyfriend broke up with me on impulse after I told him to go home following argument and raised tone. He blocked my number, but then came back. I did not let him, and within a few hours he asked someone else out, and although the date did not happen, I feel cheated on, and I cannot trust he really loves me or cares about me. Should I break up for good?
Just deleted all dating apps. I am so done with this. I have had over 1,000 matches over the past 2 years and went on 40+ first dates, with which about 8 made it past second dates and had 2 extended situationships and nothing was working out. I just couldn't find someone that 1 wants to settle down, 2 genuinely likes me, or 3 is compatible in the long term with me. I did a bit of self-reflection. Maybe these apps just aren't for me. Dating is hard, and I am leaving this to God now. I have met people IRL as well, had people approached me in bars, in cafes, and even in the airport before. It's rare, but chances aren't zero. I will see life takes me. Good luck, everyone else. Finding the one in my 30s after a breakup. I am a 35-year-old male, she is 32, and we knew that the main reason we were still together was because we both wanted marriage and kids. Things started amazingly, but when we moved in together last year, she really struggled with living with someone, and we clashed a lot. The chemistry faded, and our differences outgrew our similarities. It was her call to end it, but we both knew it was coming, and honestly, I didn't have the guts to do it out of fear of once again being single, mid-30s. In the past 2 weeks, I have started to move on in healthy ways. I have thrown myself into gym, work, social life, family, etc. People say, be happy being alone before you date. But I've tried, and honestly, whilst I have great things in my life, I can't shake the unrelenting desire of a family to share it with. Every one of my closest friends has married and had a kid or 2 in the past 5 years. Furthermore, I found that many of my friends are naturally gravitating towards hanging out with other couples with kids the same age as theirs, which is making it harder and harder to see them and maintain those close friendships that were so easy in my 20s. It's much easier to feel lonely now. I want to find someone to spend my life with, and I know there are absolutely no guarantees it will be the first or second person I date. Takes time and effort and a lot of luck. My biggest questions are, should I immerse myself into dating, or take it slow but work against the clock? Should I take some time off altogether to try and be happy alone? I'd love to hear from other people about their experiences and perspectives.
Thank you so much for watching the video. For more videos like this, please subscribe.